Cricket et al. It's a website. It's a podcast.
Pete, it's a way of life.
It's Gideon Haig over here.
Peter Lawler over there.
And welcome to Cricket et al., your independent cricket podcast. After another dramatic day of Test cricket from Barbados in all sorts of respects. Let's just tease that. Let Pete's T-shirt be a subliminal message for the moment. But in the meantime, 10 wickets for 225 off 76.2 overs. 250 stands in the match. Two batters out leaving. Some whacked out third umpire decisions. Pete, the worst five in Test history, surely. Some excellent merch sales, and a brilliant Test match, which I think probably Australia's still just shading, but which they might leave with more questions than answers. Pete, how do you see it?
I know you've just got out of bed because you're in your dressing gown, but most people can't see the T-shirt that I'm wearing, Gideon. So I am wearing the Usman 232, and we'll talk about that Usman Khawaja and me a little bit later in the show. For anyone who hasn't read about it already. What was the question? How did I say it? Well, it was a long and curious day, wasn't it? West Indies started 123 behind, 6 wickets in hand, and an early wicket fell, and you thought, oh, well, look, here we go. Australia will probably get on top here. But then, reminiscent slightly of what happened at Lord's, and I've written this in the piece today, they became like men who were just waiting around for a bus that never showed up. The two West Indies batters, Chase and Hope. Sounds like something out of a Bible reading, doesn't it? Yeah.
Two great names, isn't it?
Wonderful.
I mean, Roston Chase. Roston Chase actually sounds like, I don't know, one of those TV series about an apartment block in America.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
I don't know, Shy Hope. It's like, the condition experienced by a Jane Austen heroine. And you had long enough to think about these things as they eked out 67 and 138 balls.
There was plenty to think about, actually. There was plenty to muse on in the morning sessions. I wonder if the English are getting in my head, but whenever I meet our English colleagues, Gideon, that bowling attack's old. And I say, yes, but it's still very, very good. But but it's old. And they did look like they had run out of tricks at Lord's. And I'm not joining the English in this, but in that first session, I was a little concerned with the way that they were going about it and where the next wicket would come. Let's not take anything away from Chase, who scored 44 before being dismissed by Cummins, and Shay Hope, who was dismissed on 48. They don't sound like big numbers, do they? I think they only put on, the partnership was only worth 67. Yeah, but it may prove to be one of the critical partnerships of the game because it's put the West Indies into a pretty good spot. It gave them a 10-run lead in the first innings. And in a way, perhaps it's unfair, Gids, to say to the bowlers, well, you should have got them out for less than 190. I mean, bowling a side out for 190 isn't too bad an effort, is it?
Okay, yeah. But look, I didn't want to generalise on the basis of Lord's, where I thought the pitch, once the overhead conditions changed, was pretty dead. But there was a bit in this. And they had their opportunities, and in fact, over the course of the 2 days, probably the luck has gone Australia's way with the third umpiring decisions. So Australia's in better shape than arguably they should be.
Yeah, well, I guess you're right there. Well, not just the third umpire decisions. I think we're up to 5 dropped catches off Joseph alone. I mean, that's not luck, is it? It's just poor management by the West Indies, but. Look, eventually, after it was interesting at the lunch break. I watched Bailey and McDonald join the sort of crew who go out there to fix up the wicket. In the break, the third umpire berating the guy with the broom because he wasn't sweeping properly, and George and Andrew studying that wicket closely. Andrew's a plotter and a planner, isn't he? Andrew McDonald. I think he's looking at that wicket, wondering what should be done and could be done. And when they returned after the lunch break, they were better. Cummins got that first wicket. And then, they brought Webster back on. Webster had only bowled a handful of overs to that point, and perhaps that's not unsurprising when you have a bowling lineup that's Stark, Hazelwood, Cummins and Lyon ahead of him. But I think they brought him back on for about his fourth over, and in his fourth and fifth overs, he got those two critical breakthroughs. One catch taken by Alex Carey that I think will go down as one of the great catches of his career.
Yep.
It was a sensational catch, and I mused at length on it in the piece, probably at too great a length, I think, but because we watched it and thought, by God, so it's an inside edge. He's dived a long way to his left. He's grabbed it. That is a bloody brilliant catch. That's the sort of thing that Tony Gregg would be selling in a frame, for the next 10 years. And it came after he'd put a rather simple catch down a little earlier in proceedings, and having done the same at Lord's. So it was good on you, Kez, you're back, you've taken a screamer, let's put a frame around it, let's sell it. Then they zoomed in. The third umpire, well, the TV umpire they call them now, don't they? Zoomed in, and you could see, like, the ball was in the palm, but it wasn't a full bear grip on the ball, but it was in the palm. But as he's hit the ground, that ball has made contact with the ground as well. Now, mine went back to Mitchell Stark at Lord's. Mitchell Stark was denied in very similar circumstances at Lord's a couple of years ago, a catch off Crawley, wasn't it? Or Duckett, one of those two. I get them confused. Duckett at Lord's. The experts who reckon they know umpiring say, "Oh no, there's a great difference between those two instances." Right? So in Stark's case, it pushed the ball into his hand. You could argue the same with Carey's. I think the right decision was arrived at, but most of the people in the box who watched that replay said you can't give that out, and it was given out. What did you think?
Look, I did think there was a difference, and yes, Stark kind of rubbed that ball on the ground maybe slightly before he had full control of it. He hadn't completed the catching action. It reminded me of one of Smith's a couple of years ago in the Test match against South Africa, where we were kind of, and I think that was Kettleborough was the third umpire.
Who's standing here, isn't he?
Yeah.
And about to break the English record for umpiring, by the way, number of games stood in. Yeah.
Well, anyway, and we got very, very pedantic in that Test match in Sydney, didn't we? I think there were 3 or 4 that were kind of close and almost ridiculously close, which kind of cheated the game of the demonstration of skills that ultimately didn't count. It may be that there has been an instruction from ICC to basically say, don't be too touchy about this. Don't overthink it. Technical.
Yeah. Don't overthink it.
Don't overthink it. Yeah.
He caught it. Yeah.
So sort of go with your initial judgment, because, as you say, your initial judgment was, he's caught that.
Well, and you recall that the MCC put out a statement around after that Stark non-catch, almost redefining what a catch was. So I wonder if it's shifted a little. Yeah. But anyway, I mean, look, the Australians prevailed. Those 2 Webster wickets were excellent. Lyon got one at the end. That was a little reward for him. He only bowled.
What did you think of the Roston Chase LBW? It's pretty clear he's got that inside edge, isn't it? So he's reviewed it straight away. And, I tell you what, the couple of spikes there. I mean, we all become experts, don't we, on sort of sonic signatures.
Yes.
But, anyway, look, it was.
Well, and the TV umpire said in that case, I've forgotten his name, but
Adrian Holdstock.
Thank you. Yeah. That while the VU meters showed a noise, what he couldn't see, the eyes showed that the ball wasn't in contact with that. And there was a similar decision later with Green. But anyway, we're kind of burying the lead here, Gideon.
Yeah, what's that?
Don't you think? I mean, that's all well and good. I mean, Pakistan. Who are they playing again? West Indies. Over 190. That's a big lead of 10 over the Australians. we turn the page. So at about, it would be about 5 a.m. your time.
Yeah.
Sam Constas comes out to bat. Dear, oh dear.
Fresh from his latest Instagram post. fresh from sailing around on the beach without his shirt on.
I had my heart in my mouth. I think by the end of his innings, it had spilled out down my chin and into my lap. What an innings! There is such a weight of expectation on this lad. I mean, he nearly chopped on first delivery.
Yep.
He was dropped twice in the second over off the luckless Shamar Joseph.
And he's walking at Shamar Joseph.
In the first instance there, he walked at him. Now,
he taken him hard in the second innings and he edges one to Campbell, which Campbell puts down. Then he nicks a low one to Greaves.
Yeah.
So Shamar should have had him three times probably in the first over.
So you're right. Yeah, he did walk at him that first instance, didn't he?
Yeah. Gee, that is a shocking 5. I've made better 5s than that.
Yeah, it was a shocking 5, and it amused me that Joseph decided to take the slips out of contention and just bowl the bugger. There's I mean, he just drew so much attention to himself with that magnificent innings in the MCG, and you can't criticise him for that. I feel in a way that more attention has been drawn to him and more expectation placed on him by the fact that he was sent off to a sort of, sent off to purgatory or to calm down and to come back and just to show us what a great batter he was. It almost, that, I don't know. I feel like that's built up a little bit of tension. And the Sam Constas, I remember Stark telling me that he was the kid who came up at the national anthem on Boxing Day and said, when are the nerves supposed to kick in? Well, I'd be stunned if his nerves haven't kicked in by now, because God knows I have, and everybody who's watching have, because essentially, this kid is supposed to be the future of Australian cricket, isn't he? He's that Usman Khawaja's hanging around to groom him. There's a lot of expectation on him. The messages coming from the coaches and from everyone else is patience.
Of Usman's sang-froid, is he? He looks anxious. He looks nervous. He looks pumped up. And that is, especially if you're number 3 and you're number 3 under a bit of pressure, that sends a tremor through a dressing room when your opener is struggling that badly.
It seems almost unfair for him to be in this position, but I don't know what else can be done. And look, and I'd be the first to be saying, he has to play, he has to be here. But boy, oh boy, I hope his mum's on the tour. I hope there's someone here putting an arm around him and making sure he's all right. But look, Test cricketers are made of stronger stuff than you and I. Maybe, me certainly. And hopefully he is made of strong stuff, because his mettle is being tested very much so now. Yeah. And you can imagine opposition bowlers looking at this stuff too, and the English licking their lips about this. But he wasn't the first to be dismissed.
No, he wasn't.
Usman was out. But so essentially, Australia are what did I say? 4 for 92. But I haven't got the fall of wickets in front of me. Have you? They were in deep doo-doo there for a while. Yeah. Before Head and Webster combined for that 35-40 run partnership. Khawaja dismissed for 15, Green dismissed for 15, Inglis dismissed for 12. Every one of the West Indies bowlers got a scalp there. They're working as a unit.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
They are.
I mean, we talk a lot about Joseph, but still.
Let's return to Green for the moment. So he's gotten to double figures at number 3 for the first time. Once again, he looks nervous. Almost ran Inglis out as soon as he came in. Pushed one to mid on, called yes, then no. I've done that a few times myself, but never feels good. No harm done, fortunately. And he hit a nice on drive. He got one in the sweet spot. He loves it there. Pushed it down the ground. Survived an LB, Seals, I think, which he reviewed. There was another LB. There was that weird LB where I actually thought it had hit the pad first. It had just shaved the front pad, and I thought the sonic signature showed that, but Holdstock seems to have ignored it and said that the first sound was the bat hitting the back pad flap.
Well, you couldn't rule that out because the back did at the same time. I think if he'd been given out, the decision would have stayed.
Given him out, fair enough.
But yeah. Oh, God, deep diving on these bloody DRS decisions. It was a lot easier in the old days when there were no replays and there was no DRS.
Actually, interestingly, I was told by our friend Rodney Elliott the other day that he did the Ireland-Zimbabwe test match recently. There's no DRS. There's no TV replays. So it was a very old-fashioned test match, but they do have the technology for the West Indies. Technology was not a factor in Cameron Green's eventual dismissal, though. Once again, he's just overthinking things. He's pushing forward pressing to a ball that's just nowhere near it and nicking off. Well, good, nice catch by Chase, but these batters who are trying to play the ball on the move, I don't think any coach in the world would recommend that. You've got to have a reasonably stable platform. And he doesn't look confident. He's a front foot player. When he gets on the back foot, he seems to lose his shape, or he seems to chase the ball, or he seems reluctant to leave it, or he wants to kind of be busy. And I think earlier in that over, he pushed one out to deep backward point off the back foot. He was kind of trying to repeat that stroke. There's just a lot going on with Cameron Green at the moment. The batting is not coming naturally to him.
Yeah. Well, thank God this is being played in the middle of the night and not a lot of people are watching it in, is all I can say, because if this was going on in the bright lights of an Australian summer, there'd be a lot of people would be screaming the house down.
I like how Webster comes out and just makes it look simple. Like, he hit a couple of beautiful boundaries off the back and the front foot off Greaves, and he's smoked one through the covers off Alzari. He radiates a certain calm, which might be, just he's got another 5 years on greens, played a bit more first-class cricket, but he is a very reassuring sight coming in at number 6.
Yeah, he's a little bit more fluid than Green. He actually reminds you of an elongated version of Alex Carey. Alex Carey starts similarly, he goes at the ball, with intent. Yes. But not with, he's not charging, it's not reckless, it's not ambitious, scores strongly through that offside, gets the scoreboard moving. But, look, if Travis Head and Webster and Carey do not put on some runs, Australia can find themselves in a fair bit of trouble here in this test match, which could be over very quickly, which will please a lot of people because everyone wants to go to the race meeting on Saturday. Did I discuss this last night?
Yes. Yeah. But unfortunately, that means you won't make it to the weekend, so you won't get a weekend crowd. What's your impressions of the crowd, Pete? It's a bit hard to tell from your sort of your intermittent views of them here. We get lots of Australians. We get the occasional West Indian. What's the makeup of the?
It's a predominantly Australian crowd. I mean, and let's not forget that it's midweek. On an island of 230,000 people where I assume a lot of people have to go to work. The Greenwich Haynes stand, where a ticket can be purchased for about $5 Barbadian dollars, which is about $3.50 Australian, does feature a lot of locals, a fair range, but hey, it's not, let's face it, it is not that West Indian crowd that we grew up with, is it, Gideon? Of just dancing in the stands and rum and gunja and dreadlocks and calypso cricket, as they call it. I do crave for that old-fashioned music that they used to play because they pump out that ridiculous. I love a cricket ground in the morning, Gideon. The silence of a cricket ground in the morning. Bloody DJ's getting here about the same time I am now. I don't know if I'm sleeping in or not, but God, there's a lot of noise at a cricket ground in the morning. Yeah. Hey,
too. I love hearing you refer to the Greenwich Haynes stand. I love hearing bowlers coming in from the Joel Garner and the Malcolm Marshall end.
Oh, yeah.
It does remind you that Test cricket kind of walks backwards into the future. It's just, you're watching one test, but you're also watching every test you've ever watched.
And I've got to say that the Garfield Sobers Pavilion, that Art Deco construction, somewhat reminiscent of the stands of the CCI in Mumbai, is perhaps one of the most beautiful structures at a cricket ground that I've seen. It is such an elegant building. Whereas the Worrell, Weeks and Walcott stand, reminiscent of those ghastly things that they built at Lord's. Anyway, hey, why don't we come back and talk about
let's come back
Cricket NL making the news again? Yeah.
Although maybe we should, I think it's probably time for a Saily read. Just to
Are we going to do a Saily read again?
I think we are going to do another Saily read. I'm not sure we're actually being paid for it, but we're just going to do it for the hell of it. And then we'll go back and talk about Pete's recent travails.
Hey, Gideon, you know that I'm lying on the outfield of Kensington Oval talking to you in this podcast.
Yes.
There's no Wi-Fi available here. You know what I'm using? I'm using data on my Saily app. How good is that?
Point at which I ask, what is Saily?
Well, Saily is the app that's freed me from having to do the podcast in the bathroom of the press box because I can't get too far away from the Wi-Fi. Saily is an eSIM, Gideon. I think you know this, but thank you for asking that question. It's an eSIM that the wise traveller installs on their phone to avoid hassles, rip-offs, and to stay in touch no matter where they are in the world, almost anywhere in the world. So I'm in the Caribbean. I'm traveling around the Caribbean. I didn't go to one of those nasty little shops that they have in the airport that try and sell you SIMs on dodgy plans. I'm not using those very, very expensive plans that the Australian telcos would like me to use while I'm here. And I might point out they don't actually work in Barbados. I'm using the Saily eSIM. It's simple to download. It's really good. And if you're a Cricket NL, it's really, really good, actually. Yeah. If you're a Cricket NL listener, subscriber, whatever, even if you know someone who listens to Cricket NL and you download Saily and you use the special code, you're going to get a discount. You're going to save even more money. And the code is, do you know the code, Gideon? The secret code?
It's saily.com/cricket et al. And you know what?
No, it's not, isn't it? Just Cricket et al.
I don't think of Saily as a mere eSIM these days. I think of it as a way of life. Don't you, Pete? Because it's completely changed ours. Because if you've ever been lost abroad and badly needed an internet connection with no Wi-Fi in sight, you'll understand what a difference an eSIM card can make. It's uncanny. I don't recognise you anymore, Pete. You're imbued with a kind of a holy light. You just exude freedom. Like you're like a man who's been relieved of all his troubles. Is that because I think that's because you only need to download it once. With Saily, an eSIM can be installed only once, eliminating the need for users to install a new eSIM for each country. It saves time. As you say, it avoids scams. It avoids those nasty, nasty roaming fees. You'll stay constantly connected. And, Pete, you'll get 24/7 support. Chat support is available 24/7. You'll get a full refund if your device isn't eSIM compatible. Am I selling this hard enough to you?
I'm already in, buddy. Now I want another one. Tell you what, if
you fall off your chair tonight, I noticed that you take that precaution by lying on the ground.
I've laid on the ground, and I've also gone to the bathroom before you've done this, Ray, because last night I nearly wet myself.
I think this is actually our last Saily live read, but I think we're going to have to continue it just for the sheer hell of it.
Oh, really? Yeah. Because it's not a commercial proposition for us. It is, as you say, it's a calling. It's a way of life. Yep. It's that light on the horizon.
Like those missionaries in the Book of Mormon selling our eSIM to the waiting world.
Tell you what, Gideon, if Cricket et al. Ever turns turtle, you should get yourself a suitcase and become a door-to-door salesman.
With my covered wagon and my bottles of elixir. All right, it's enough Saily for tonight, but keep looking out for it. Keep looking out for it. Because if it can do this for us, just imagine what it can do for you. Okay, we're back on Cricket et al. After the inevitable highlight of the Saily read. Pete, I love it when you're martyred. You're my favourite martyr.
Is that what's happening?
You're martyred.
Martyred?
Yeah.
Martyred, or have I been cancelled? I don't know. What is it? Eh?
I don't know. Anyway, what's it like? What's it like when the journalist becomes the news rather than reporting the news?
Oh, funny story. Hey, I've just changed the angle on that camera. Can you see that blotch just behind over my shoulder there?
Oh, yeah.
No,
yeah.
you can't. Yeah. Okay, it might be on my screen, but it's actually the drone that got entangled in a kite string today and has been hanging by one arm above the party stand all day. I wish they transmit pictures for it. It'd be like, remember, the stump cam used to fall over, sort of like the shot of the dying cameraman in the war zone. Anyway, what's it like making this? Well, that was a bit odd last night. I've got to say, I was down here talking to you for some time. It's my favourite part of the day, so I like to drag it on. And I think we did that Saily promotion that went for an hour and a half. And I walked back up to the Coppin, Cozier and Short Media Centre, which is just to my left here.
Another great night.
And the boys had just come back from the press conference, and they had a bit of look in their eye, and I know that look, Gideon. I kind of miss being on the, being the yarn star. Not that I've completely given it up. And I said to Tom Decent, "You got a yarn, haven't you?" He said, "What do you mean?" I said, "You just got a look in your eye. What happened in the press conference?" And he went, "Well, it's what didn't happen." And I said, "What are you talking about?" And he said, "Well, you're the yarn." And I said, "What did I do?" He said, "Well, Usman's refused to talk to SEN because of you." And I went, oh, taking myself out of the picture. I said, geez, that's a good story.
That's a good yarn.
And I looked over at Dan Cherney, and Churns is typing furiously and making calls and sending messages. And the Cricket Australia crisis management team's got the bloody fire hose out and trying to suggest that it might have been something else and, who knows, and this and that. But, man of principle, Usman told me when I was sacked from SEN for my sympathies for the Palestinian cause that he would never speak to SEN again. I knew that, but I don't think anyone else knew it, and it wasn't my place to tell anybody. It was up to him. And it was reiterated to me when we were in London at Lord's that this policy stood, but it had never been tested because I don't think he'd done anything in the between.
No,
apart from the Usman 2, there was the 2-3-2, but I think did that happen before? I'm not sure.
Pez and I have boycotted SEM, but no one's noticed.
You've boycotted it, did you say?
I've boycotted SEN.
Yeah, well, thank you. And you're not the only one, but it's up to other people to put up their hand who've done it. Thank you, Gideon. I appreciate your support, and I really appreciate Usman's as well. So after play here, what happens is the rights holders who've paid money to be here get the interview of the day, and Usman did it with the TV and did it with someone else and did it with the someone else. And he walked up, he saw the SEN microphone, and he just said, "Nah, sorry, not doing that." So Barat and Adam Collins were left interviewless as Usman headed back to the dressing room. Boy, did it take off that yarn. Hey?
Would they have been okay if they put brown paper around the SEN symbol on the microphone?
Well, when I offered to be interviewed, but they didn't want me either, so, for some reason or other. Anyway, yeah. So I was rather amused to sit in the Bali Beach Club last night and have a beer and a vegetable stir fry and watch story after story after story drop with my name in it.
Yeah.
It's kind of what part of being in the new media, isn't it, Gideon? You become the story.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
But he's a man. He's a good man, Usman. And hey, maybe we can make the most of it and sell a T-shirt.
I think there were a few sales last night, Pete. Just looking at the Cricket et al. Chat. So
were there really?
Everyone benefits from that.
I know that there was. I know that there were. But anyway, I'm sure most people saw that somewhere. What do you make of it?
Oh, look, it is what it is. I'm quite enjoying it. Adds a nuance to the narrative, doesn't it? We're actually talking about at the Phillip Island Festival of Stories, aren't we, next month, about the move from Murdoch to the new media. Not that either of us know very much about it, but I guess this is part of the experience, isn't it?
We are it, Gideon.
We are it.
Old man in a dressing gown.
Man in T-shirt.
This bloke in recline on among all the gnats. There are gnats in this grass. I might have to get out of it soon. Are they gnats? Is that what? Gnats? Is that how you say it?
Huh? So the insect drones.
Anyway, is this the point where we say subscribe, push a button, buy something, support us, and thank you for supporting us too?
Yeah. Thanks very much. It's going to be another short test, but short tests can be a good test when it's when every run is worth rubies and two teams are going really hard at each other. And Australia, this loomed as a mismatch, but I think the pitch has brought the two teams a bit closer together, and the West Indian spirit's done the rest. So, a lot to play for both these sides, both in terms of individual and collective ambition. And Cricket et al. Will be with you right the way through. You're going on to the next Test match after this, Pete. Keep following us. It's great to have your company, but in the meantime, it's goodbye from me.
And it's good night from him as the sun sets slowly over the Garfield Sobers Pavilion.